So I was going about my day yesterday, and then it suddenly hit me. Why do we allow piracy in video games? Like not us, like you and I are, allowing piracy as if we had control over that. But why do we allow people who advocate for piracy to talk on podcasts, to make gaming-oriented content, or to even just respond in the chat? Why don't we shame them out of existence? Because it's weird, right? We listen to this gaming news, we're in these gaming circles, supposedly because we love the art form. And yet, we do not bat an eye, or at least not enough of us do, when a person just casually states or even promotes and encourages people to pirate games. Isn't that weird? Isn't that really, really weird? Because here's the thing, I've never been to like a car lovers podcast, and then they have a guest, and then they say, hey, you know what? We love German cars over here. We love the Audis, the Porsches, the BMWs. And you won't believe it, but our guest is starting a car collection. He's already got 17 cars, all Porsches, at the young age of 27. So they'll bring him on, they'll be like, hey, John, how you doing? And John will be like, hey, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. And then they'll be like, John, you're only 27. And he'll be like, yep, but yet you are a an owner of a quite envious Porsche collection. And he'll be like, hey man, I just love the cars. What can I say? I just love driving those cars. I love everything about the cars. And I actually really love the old school Porsches even more than the new stuff. And people will be like, oh my God, great, that's fantastic. It's so good to see the younger generation, you know, getting into the hobby and loving, what we lived through and what we loved. And then talking and talking, eventually the person's like, okay, John, I must ask, how does a person as young as you come to be the owner of so many cars? And he's like, oh, I steal them. And people will be like, what? He'll be like, yeah, I steal them. I see a car, I frequent neighborhoods where there will be, a lot of high-end cars. And whenever I see one that I like, I steal it. Can you imagine whether that audience and community will be receptive to that? And yet we do the same over here on the gaming side. A person would just clearly say like, "Oh, I don't like Nintendo's policies, so I pirate the games." And people just move on with the conversation like that's not the thing to actually be like, "No, we don't want you back here." Or a person will go in week after week and tell you that one of the main benefits of PC gaming is that piracy exists. Just proudly stating it and encouraging other people too. And that's the thing. It would be like going to a parenting podcast. And then again, similarly, a guest will be coming on and her name will be Eleanor or something like that. And she will have, lots of kids and she will talk about her love for kids and how she wants to have even more kids. And then people will be like, wow, how could you have so many pregnancies back to back to back? And she'll be like, no, I didn't. And they'll be like, well, then how do you have so many kids? Is it foster care? Is it adoption? She's like, no, kidnapping. Because that's what it is. It's theft. Well, how is it that we're just like comfortable with theft? Listen, I'm not saying that people didn't pirate games before. Okay? That's not something to be proud of. Let's just put it that way. First of all, that was still a crime even back then. Like all of us that pirated music, like LimeWire and everything like that. Listen, we didn't know no better, I guess. But we are adults, right? Like we're no longer 12 and 13 or like, I don't know, early or late teenagers. We're no longer in that state. I don't pirate music nowadays. Even if you made pirating music as convenient as streaming music, I would want to pay for Spotify, which honestly, I mean, to the artist, Spotify is really barely no different than piracy. I mean, have you seen the amount of things that they actually pay them? But, anyways, it is still better than pirating, if only by a little bit. But I would assume most of us adults are no longer pirating music. Same thing for movies, right? Like, I would rather go and sign up to a service that I don't normally use in order to watch a show or a movie that I'm interested in than go on I don't even know, a BitTorrent or something like that, and then illegally download that film. Partly because I'm an adult, partly because I now have the financial flexibility to be able to pay for things legally, but partly because just morally and ethically, there comes to be a time where that must meet your maturity, and you must be like, hey, you know what? That makes sense. Let me go and reward the people, or at least not take from the people, because we all know that this is not a victimless crime, guys. There are people, there are human beings who actually are impacted by this piracy. And again, you don't have to get on your high horse and be like, oh, I shall never pirate. I'm not even saying that, but it's weird. It's weird that in a gaming circle, a person can come on the microphone or can come onto a platform and make videos and then actively promote piracy, and we just move beyond that as if that's not a thing to be stopped. Like, again, imagine if someone was like, oh yeah, I just Grand Theft Auto in real life. Oh yeah, I just kidnap things. Oh yeah, I just steal from the grocery store. In no other circle, like in an audiophile circle, if a person was like, oh my god, I have high end BMW speakers, and then the person's like, wow, when did you, how much were they? When did you get that? And he'll be like, well, they were selling at $50,000 at the time, but I got a really great five-finger discount. So yeah, it's no problem. I just took them home, didn't pay. No one would let that slide. No one would just be like, oh yeah, that, and actively then let that person promote that method of acquisition, that theft. That is crazy to me. So it's like, listen, get the pirators out of the gaming podcast. Get them out. Just get them out. It's weird. Your platform, if it is yours, should not be used for that. And if it's your viewership, it should not be going towards encouraging a person that actively promotes that thing. Those are my 2 cents.